Thank you all this morning. I appreciate the opportunity to share myself and my expertise with you all today. I want to take just a moment to tell you kind of who I am because I don't know all of you especially well. I'm a wife, a mother, and a business owner. As Carissa mentioned, I'm a cancer thriver, I like to say, and mentor. I'm a devoted meditator. I dabble in journaling, and I love to be out walking on the beach or hiking in the woods. I am curious by nature, which is a perfect trait for a market researcher. It serves me very well. I have two goals for our conversation this morning. At the end, I'm hoping that you will understand what market research is and what it can do for you, and view me as a resource that you can reach out to when you're trying to figure out how to find answers to your organization's most burning questions. So market research is not a one-size-fits-all commodity. The specific information needs of each situation should be the guiding force determining what kind of research should be done, when it should be done, and with who. So the people that we have this morning, Carissa works for a bank. So what information a bank needs is going to be different than maybe what we need to know for the ice cream emergency company. So you want to make sure that you're considering a specific organization's needs when developing a research project. In a few minutes, I'm going to share with you what advertising, drones, and dense breast tissue all have in common. I bet you never thought that you would hear those three items used together in a sentence. So let's start at the beginning. What the heck is market research? I'm going to share my screen. According to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, market research is research into the means of promoting, selling, and distributing a product or service. They go on to say that the first use of this definition was in 1915. So for me, this definition is outdated. Market research defined by a quick Google search. They define it as the action or activity of gathering information about consumers' needs and preferences. While this definition is more up to date, in my mind, it's a bit narrow. So this here is my working definition. Market research is a tool used to gather data that provides an understanding of the needs and opinions and/or experiences of key target groups. And I intentionally use the words key target groups here because market research can be used to gather insights from many different perspectives. Could be current, lost, or prospective customers, employees, board members, or partnering agencies. So I do have a couple of quick stories that I want to share with you about market research and how it was used by some organizations to help them move in the right direction. But I first want to share with you a cautionary tale, how market research should not be done. It's actually from my Instagram feed this past month, and it's a perfect example of how not to do market research. So the post that you see up on your screen is from an Instagram account for an association whose members are female small business owners. The caption reads, "To ensure you're nailing your offer for your ideal client, drop the links to your survey here, and let's help you get the essential market research." The women who follow this account own a wide variety of businesses from across the world aimed at very different ideal clients. There's a company that sells hair bows for babies, a premium whiskey subscription, a health coach, to name a few. Very few, if any of them, focus specifically on female small business owners. But as you can see in the caption, it says here, to ensure you're nailing your offer for your ideal client. The problem is, with this post and with this exercise is that the ideal client for most of the people who are on the account, their ideal clients aren't there. So they are probably getting surveys completed, but they're only being completed by other female small business owners, which are not typically the ideal client of the companies that are on here. This is not only unhelpful, it could be harmful. It could lead the organization down the wrong path because they didn't talk to the right people. This is not quality market research. So market research does not equal asking questions of your friends or non-business social connections. Now, if it was an Instagram account for the hair bow company and they were asking people who were following the hair bow company's Instagram page, that would be an okay survey for them. but not something that's of just small business owners. So now I'm going to give you a few examples of how market research has been done well and helps some organizations. First, we're going to talk about advertising. In 2020, I had a medical school client who wanted to develop an ad campaign to attract non-traditional students. 3 creative executions were developed by their advertising agency. After reviewing the 3 options, the executive team identified the one execution that they thought would be the best one to use, a strong favorite in their eyes. It's a good thing they decided to conduct market research because it revealed that the campaign that prospective non-traditional students said would most capture their attention and most encourage them to reach out to the university for more information was not the one preferred by the executive team. While they did like the one that the executive team had identified as the winner, it was a far second to the ad that the target market thought was the right one. So the market research led the school to pick the right path with their messaging so that they did attract more non-traditional students to their school. Now on to drones. As is true with many fields, technology assists the property and casualty insurance business. Drones are used to assess and document damage to building roofs, as you can see a little bit on this picture here. To learn how to fly and use the drones to assess roof damage, insurance adjusters participate in a training program. As is often done, a survey is conducted at the end of the training that was provided. In 2020, the satisfaction scores were lower than the company wanted them to be. The training manager hypothesized that the lowish scores were due to students wanting more flying time with the drones. They decided to do an additional survey with the students who had gone through the program and found that while time was important, what they really wanted was different types of roof lines to practice flying the drones. So to address the students' desires, the company purchased 3 outdoor sheds with different roof lines so that the students could practice flying the drones over the different kinds of roofs. When comparisons were made between the trainee satisfaction scores before and after the new sheds were brought in, significant increase was found. So in this case, the research supported the initial hypothesis in that the trainees did want more flying time, but it provided a more complete picture that enabled the company to make the right change to increase the satisfaction with the training. Now, my last story is very personal. At the core of it is Dr. Nancy Capello, whose picture is on your screen, who passed away in 2018 from a cancer that was caused by chemotherapy she received in 2004 to fight a late-stage breast cancer diagnosis. Nancy was diligent about getting her annual mammogram and received a clean bill of health every year. Even in 2004, the year that she was diagnosed with late-stage breast cancer, her mammogram was clean. It did not find any indication of did not find any indication of cancer. And the cause of that was because Nancy had dense breast tissue. While her doctors knew this fact, Nancy didn't know. Nancy also did not know at the time that breast density is one of the strongest predictors of a mammogram failing to detect cancer. When Nancy asked her doctor why she had not been told about her dense breast tissue, she was told it was not the standard protocol. In exploring this issue, Nancy learned that women like her with dense breast tissue were actually at double jeopardy. Not only are women with dense breast tissue less likely to have their cancer detected with a mammogram, they're also at a higher risk to get breast cancer. So women with dense breast tissue need to have additional screening with an ultrasound or an MRI to check for cancer. In 2008, Nancy established a nonprofit called Are You Dense with the intention of informing women about the issues that they have if they have dense breast tissue, and to change laws across the country to make it mandated that the radiology departments need to notify women when they have dense breast tissue. That way, it empowers women to make the informed decisions about whether or not they want to have additional screening. By early 2018, 31 states had passed laws requiring that women be notified if they had breast dense tissue. While a law was passed in California, it was set to expire in 2019, and that's where I came into the picture. We did a survey in California to help Nancy advocate with the state legislator that California women wanted to be informed about their dense breast tissue so that they could make informed decisions. We created this infographic that you see here. So it was an easy talking point for Nancy to talk to the legislators about the importance of the law. I'm happy to say that her efforts were successful and the law was extended through 2025. So what did market research do here? Simply put, it helps save lives. That's not typically what happens with market research, but it certainly did here in my estimation. Nancy was able to use those survey results to advocate with the legislators. It was a clear victory for Nancy, for the RU Dense organizations, and the women of California. So let me circle back. What do advertising, drone flights, and dense breast tissue all have in common? They were each at the center of a challenge or a decision that an organization needed to make, and market research was instrumental in helping them go down the right path, go in the right direction. So to wrap up, in the 10 minutes or so that I have for this presentation, I have defined for you what the heck market research is and provided a few stories to illustrate some real life experience examples of how valuable market research can be. As mentioned earlier, I am a 4-year cancer survivor, or thriver, as I like to say. I mention this because I now view the world through a different lens. I did not experience the great epiphany that some do. I did not quit my job and become a yoga master. I did not go climb Mount Everest, but my life now focuses on being of service and giving back. In the cancer world, I talk to Yale medical students about what it's like to be a cancer patient and give them the opportunity to ask any questions they have that they normally couldn't ask the patient. And I serve as a peer mentor for women going through a gynecological cancer experience. I serve the business and nonprofit world by sharing my experience and expertise in market research to show people that research makes a difference. Market research is a very valuable tool, and it's my goal to show people how it can empower them to make better decisions. Happy to answer any questions if anybody has any. If not,
I have a question, Dorinda, but I had to excuse myself because I have an appointment, but I wanted to say congratulations on your 4 years.
Oh, thank you.
I just celebrated 5 in January, so
good for you.
1 year makes a big difference in your mental state with what everything goes on. You kind of hit that 5 year and you're like, that's it.
Yep.
Not looking back, always forward, but
yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Well, I thank you everyone for listening to my story. If at any point, yep.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Yeah, I just was wondering, and this is a little bit more small scale because it's, I'm on my school's PTA and I do surveys with the school from time to time to find out about like what interests families and like what activities. And I think one of our biggest challenges, and I'd love your advice on this, is just getting people to respond to these surveys. Is there more than one way to reach them? We're doing a spring picnic in May, and we had all these ideas about what kind of activities would interest families and what could drive them to attend this event. Mm-hmm. And we have a school population of probably 275 people, and only 40 people answered the survey. And that it was great input of those 40 people, but obviously not a representative of the total population.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's always a challenge. I think that some people feel as though if they get, if they send out a survey, everybody's going to answer it, but that's just not the case. Did you reach out via email? How did you reach out to people?
It was created on a Google Doc and it was sent out via email. And then it was also, our school does a weekly newsletter on Wednesday, which also goes out by email. And I believe there's an app that a lot of the families have called Class Dojo. So there was at least 3 ways that you could see the news that like, hey, the survey was sent out, go do it.
Right. I mean, the only thing you can try to do is to entice people is to maybe have a drawing for some kind of prize. Sometimes that will help. And then, I mean, with regard to sampling, I mean, you don't need to have everybody answer to have a, representative sample. 40 is on the small side, but it's not like you need even 200 to reply,
Sure.
so that's something to keep in mind. Also, with that kind of thing, the people who responded are probably more likely to attend the event. People who are not interested in attending are going to be less likely to respond, but then their input would be less important too.
That's true. And I think the one thing the survey did return was a good long list of people who were willing to volunteer, which is always a task as well, to get people to
Right.
raise their hands. So
Right.
that was a success there.
That's awesome. Great.
Thank you so much.